World War II was not only about tanks, planes, and guns. Hidden deep in military archives were bizarre machines designed to change the course of history. From underwater suicide torpedoes to tanks the size of apartment buildings, these experimental weapons were ambitious, terrifying, and often completely impractical. Let's explore some of the strangest and most forgotten machines of the war. These designs were created out of fear, desperation, or the dream of ultimate power. While some reached the battlefield in limited form, most remained unfinished prototypes or blueprints. Still, they reveal how far nations were willing to push technology to gain an edge in war. Today they serve as haunting reminders of imagination colliding with the harsh realities of combat and engineering. Japan introduced the Kaiten, a manned suicide torpedo meant to strike Allied ships. Pilots sealed themselves inside these cramped metal tubes, with no escape. The idea was horrifying: sacrifice one life to sink an enemy vessel. Yet most missions ended in disaster, as the Kaitens were slow, unstable, and vulnerable to detection. Instead of turning the tide of war, they became a tragic symbol of desperation. Though the Kaiten program cost the lives of hundreds of young men, it only sank a handful of Allied ships. The Allies quickly adapted, using sonar and destroyers to spot and destroy them before impact. For Japan, the Kaiten represented not only technological failure, but also the human cost of desperation. It is remembered today as one of the most tragic and unusual weapons of the Pacific War. Long before the war, the Soviets had dreamed of the Tsar tank, a colossal machine with wheels taller than a house. It looked like something out of science fiction, but in reality it was a disaster. The enormous front wheels got stuck in soft ground, while the small back wheel could not support its weight. Though never used in battle, the design resurfaced in wartime discussions as a symbol of engineering ambition gone wrong. The Tsar tank was abandoned in 1915, left to rust in the forests outside Moscow. Photos of its bizarre shape spread later, sparking myths during World War II. While the Soviets never built another like it, the memory of this giant war machine became a cautionary tale. Sometimes bigger is not better. Engineers realized that mobility, armor, and firepower had to balance, or the machine was doomed to fail. Nazi Germany planned the Landkreuzer P-1000 Ratte, a super-heavy tank weighing over 1,000 tons. It was so massive it would have been longer than a battleship's deck and armed with naval cannons. On paper, it was unstoppable. In reality, it was impossible to build or move. Roads, bridges, and fuel supplies could never handle it. Hitler's dream of a land battleship remained just that, a dream, and one of the most absurd ideas of the war. If completed, the Ratte would have required a crew of over 100 men and consumed fuel faster than Germany could supply. Its sheer size would have made it an easy target for bombers. The Allies could have spotted and destroyed it long before it reached the battlefield. The Ratte is now remembered not as a weapon of war, but as a symbol of Nazi overconfidence and impractical wonder weapons. From the Kaiten's tragic missions to the towering Tsar tank and the impossible Ratte, these machines remind us that war drives human imagination into extreme places. Some of these ideas were bold, others absurd, but all are a window into the desperation and ambition of the time. They never changed history, but they left behind stories too strange to be forgotten. These forgotten war machines show us the other side of history, the inventions that failed, yet still capture our imagination today. They reveal the limits of technology, the cost of desperation, and the endless human drive to create, even in the darkest of times. In their failure lies a reminder: not all weapons are remembered for victory, some are remembered simply because they were extraordinary.